Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, consider subscribing. It really helps keep these stories coming. And while you're here, let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Now, sit back, relax, and let's get into the story. By the time the night started to fall apart, I had been on duty for just over 6 hours. It was my third overnight shift in a row, and I was still in that awkward stage where your body has not decided whether to stay awake or give up. The Emergency Communications Center sat 2 floors below street level, buried under concrete and rebar in the basement of the Franklin County Public Safety Complex in downtown Columbus, Ohio. We shared the building with the county sheriff's office, the emergency management agency, and a windowless records archive that always smelled like paper and dust when the air system cycled. Our room was a horseshoe of workstations and glowing screens. 2 full rows of call-taking consoles faced the wall of big displays, live maps of the city grid, a feed from traffic cameras, and a rolling list of active police, fire, and medical incidents. Each of us had a computer-aided dispatch terminal, 2 monitors for the 911 call system, and a radio console panel with more buttons than I had learned to use. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The line of vending machines out in the hall sounded louder than they should at 2 in the morning. I was the junior dispatcher on the shift, 24 years old, 6 months out of training, still feeling a little out of place every time I slid into my chair. My name is Daniel Ruiz. When everything started, I had a headset on, a lukewarm coffee next to the keyboard, and a supervisor who kept telling me I would get used to the nights, that the quiet would eventually feel normal. For a while, it did. The first half of the shift was exactly what you would expect for a Thursday rolling into Friday. Noise complaints near Ohio State campus. A possible intoxicated driver on Interstate 71. A couple of domestic disputes that settled down once uniforms showed up. A structure fire alarm that turned out to be burned food in an apartment kitchen off Broad Street. We passed call notes back and forth with the radio operators, logged times, checked addresses, reminded each other to stand up and stretch. The first call that felt wrong came in at 2:17 in the morning. My screen flashed red with the incoming line and the system assigned it to my position. I tapped my foot pedal, hit the hot key, and my voice went into automatic mode. Franklin County 911, what is the address of your emergency? A man's voice came through, harsh and breathless. 42 South Ogden Avenue, please. You have to send someone. He is attacking people in the hallway. I typed the address into the system and confirmed it, my fingers moving almost on instinct. Okay, I have 42 South Ogden Avenue. Is this an apartment building? Yes, 3rd floor. He is in the hallway. He is hurt, but he keeps getting back up. He is biting them. He is actually biting them. That got my attention. I glanced across the consoles. A couple of the other call takers were on lines, heads down. My supervisor, Karen, was at her station near the back, going through incident logs. Okay, I said, keeping my voice calm. What's your name? Evan. Evan, are you in a safe place right now? I locked my door. I can still hear him. People are screaming. There was noise behind him. A thudding sound and someone shouting. I tried to help. He came out of apartment 305. He fell down the stairs. I swear he broke his neck, then he just got back up. I typed quickly. Male subject, possible severe injury, continuing to assault others, biting, appears disoriented, still mobile after fall. The CAD system linked the call to patrol units in the nearest police zone. I saw 2 cars free, one 3 blocks away. Officers are on the way, I said. I need you to stay in your apartment, keep the door locked, and stay on the line with me. Evan's breathing grew faster. I heard more shouting through the door, muffled now. A woman crying out, something hitting a wall. He is not stopping. They are yelling at him, but he is not stopping. On the radio console to my left, the primary police dispatcher assigned the run. Unit 3, 10, and 312, respond Priority 1, 42 South Ogden Avenue. Report of a male subject attacking people in the hallway, possibly injured, unknown weapons. Voices answered, calm and professional. I followed the call updates on my CAD screen as I tried to keep Evan talking. The officers arrived within 4 minutes. I heard their status changes click through. On scene, investigating. The shouting in Evan's hallway climbed an octave, then cut off. He gasped into the phone. They are here. He is going toward them. I muted my line and called over to Karen. Do you want me to stay on with this caller? I asked. He says the subject might be going at the officers. She looked up from her monitor, eyes tired but focused. Stay with him. Let me know if you hear anything useful. I unmuted. Evan, you are doing great. Do you hear the officers? Heavy thuds echoed through the line, something hitting the walls. A distant voice ordering someone to stay back. Then I heard a short burst of sound that I recognized from going on a ride-along months earlier. The flat crack of an officer's sidearm. Once. Twice. Then several more times in quick succession. It went quiet. Evan whispered, They shot him. They had to. He would not stop. Oh my God. I saw the update appear on the CAD screen a few seconds later. 1 subject down, requesting medic, multiple injured. No further details. The radio dispatcher's voice was a little tighter when she repeated the traffic. Karen walked up behind me and read over my shoulder. She did not say anything, just put a hand on the back of my chair, then went back to her desk. Odd calls happen. People on drugs, people in crisis. We filed it under that mental category and moved on. Except that 10 minutes later, I took another call that sounded almost the same. This one came from a gas station near Parsons Avenue. Night clerk on duty. A man wandering the lot, hurt, limping, covered in what the clerk described as bad injuries. The clerk said the man did not react to questions, did not appear to feel pain, and when a customer tried to help, the man lunged at him with his teeth. I logged the details. Another patrol unit was dispatched, and then another line lit up from 2 blocks away. A woman screaming that someone had broken through her front door, that he would not stop climbing on her husband even after she hit him with a lamp. Within 30 minutes, half the center was dealing with calls that included the same elements. Aggressive subjects, severe injuries that should have stopped anyone from moving, reports of biting and scratching, people describing their attackers as vacant, blank, out of it. We had domestic calls, street assaults, incidents in parking lots and lobbies. A city of 400,000 people at night is never really quiet, but this was different. This was chaotic. Karen came to stand in the center of the room, headset around her neck. Everyone listen up, she said, loud enough to carry over the noise. We are getting multiple calls about people acting violently with possible exposure to something. For now, treat them as high-risk subjects. Ask about any weapons. Make sure officers know to use caution. Log any mention of biting or unusual behavior. We will wait for guidance from command. We nodded and kept working. A second supervisor, Mike, came in from the back office, his shirt half untucked, holding a phone to his ear. From his side of the conversation, I caught references to the city's health department and the State Emergency Operations Center. No one had answers yet. At 2:49 in the morning, my board showed 6 active calls in my queue alone. I bounced between them, putting one caller briefly on hold to answer another incoming line, then returning to the first as fast as I could. Franklin County 911, what is the address of your emergency? It is the emergency room at Grant Medical Center, a woman said, voice clipped and professional. This is Nurse Collins. We need police assistance. We have patients attacking staff and other patients. Security cannot control them. I typed as she spoke, tagging the call as hospital security, high priority. Okay, Nurse Collins, how many patients are involved? At least 4 that we know of. They are all from earlier incidents. Multiple bite wounds, multiple injuries. They are not responding to sedation. They are extremely aggressive. They are trying to get out of restraints. In the background, I heard a male voice shouting orders, metal clanging, and someone calling for more staff to come to a specific room. Collins lowered her voice. We had one go into cardiac arrest 20 minutes ago, no pulse. We tried resuscitation. Then he started moving again. He got off the bed without help. He attacked a tech. I hesitated for a second, then typed it word for word. It felt ridiculous to write, but leaving it out felt worse. The CAD line read, patient with no pulse resumed movement, attacked staff, appears unresponsive to injury. Police units are being dispatched, I said. I need you and security to get to a safe location and lock any doors you can. Do not try to restrain anyone by yourself. We are trying, but they keep getting out. We need help now. I watched the map display show 2 police cruisers redirecting from other calls towards the hospital. Fire dispatch was sending extra paramedics in case any officers were hurt. The radio channels grew crowded, overlapping transmissions making it hard for the operators to keep up. Karen had to split the primary police zone into 2 talk groups, just to keep units from stepping on each other's traffic. Around 3 o'clock, an automated message chimed across our speaker. Severe system load. Incoming calls are exceeding available lines. The queue on the main board jumped from single digits to more than 20. Every call taker had multiple people on hold. Do not let anyone sit longer than 20 seconds, Karen reminded us. Rotate, check, get addresses first, then details. Keep people calm if you can. I took a breath and focused. 911, what is your emergency? They're in the hallway, a woman whispered. I'm in the laundry room in the basement. I can hear them. They're trying doors. Where are you? I asked, and we cycled through the familiar routine. Address, cross street, apartment number, caller name. As soon as I had the location, I saw 3 other calls already active in the same block. I added notes, but there were no units left to assign. Every patrol car in that zone was tied to an incident, most of them flagged as urgent. Officers are very busy right now, I said carefully. I am not ignoring you. I just want to be honest that there may be a delay. Are you in a room with a lock? Yes. Do not open that door. Move anything heavy in front of it if you can do it quietly. Turn off the lights, stay away from windows, and stay as quiet as you can. She sobbed softly. Okay, please do not hang up. I will stay with you as long as needed, I said, making a quick decision to keep her on the line and juggle the rest as best I could. Tell me if you hear them getting close. For the next 20 minutes, I bounced between her and 3 other callers, each in some version of the same situation. People in hallways or parking lots who did not respond to warnings, who lunged at anyone nearby, who continued to move despite injuries that should have put them down. Through all of it, our officers and medics worked. I heard them on the radio, breathless and loud, calling out locations, asking for additional units, asking over and over why people were not stopping when ordered. At 3:30 in the morning, the room got noticeably tenser. The police commander on duty switched to an emergency channel and broadcast a citywide message. All units, this is command. We are receiving multiple reports of aggressive subjects with unknown medical conditions across the city. Until further notice, treat all of these subjects as potentially highly dangerous. Maintain distance, avoid close contact. If bitten or otherwise contaminated, immediately notify dispatch and respond to the nearest medical facility if you can safely do so. Repeat, maintain distance and avoid close contact. We could see the effect on the radio traffic almost immediately. Officers no longer approached people alone if they could avoid it. Some units waited for backup that never came because backup was busy or out of service. Incidents started stacking. Calls held waiting for units, then calls held because the phone system simply could not connect them all at once. The emergency alert system pushed out a message to every mobile phone it could reach. City emergency, stay indoors, lock doors. Avoid contact with individuals acting violently or strangely. Do not approach, await further instructions. 20 minutes later, another alert added, emergency services are experiencing extremely high call volumes. Only call 911 for life-threatening emergencies. By then, almost everything was a life-threatening emergency. People called about loved ones who had gone out to walk the dog and had not returned. People called from parked cars, whispering that something had tried to open their doors. People called to ask whether they should go to work in the morning, whether they should get on the freeway, whether they should try to reach family across town. I answered as honestly as I could while sticking to our guidelines. Stay home, stay indoors. Lock your doors. Stay off the roads if you can. Keep listening for official updates. At around 4 a.m, we lost our first officer. It did not happen on my channel. I heard it secondhand, in fragments, through the overlapping noise. A patrol unit had gone to check on a stalled city bus on Main Street. Another unit arrived to assist. Dispatch marked them on scene, then nothing for several minutes. When someone finally keyed their microphone, it was not calm anymore. Dispatch, we have multiple aggressors. They're trying to get on the bus. A shout in the background. A voice yelling for someone to get back. The open carrier stayed on for 10 more seconds with only muffled noises and the harsh sound of breathing. Then it cut. The units did not respond to further calls. The operator tried to raise them. Command tried. No response. Medics were dispatched, but the crew approaching from 2 blocks away reported people in the street, moving toward their ambulance, ignoring the siren and lights pounding on the cab. They turned away and rerouted, ordered to prioritize their safety. Not long after that, one of our own radio operators stood up, ripped off his headset, and said he was leaving. "This is out of control," he said, voice shaking. "My wife is alone with the kids in Whitehall. I have to get home." Karen tried to talk him down. "If everyone walks out, there will be no one to answer them," she said. "You know that. We are the ones who keep this moving." He shook his head, grabbed his jacket, and walked out the door with his badge still clipped to his belt. 2 more call takers followed within the hour, each with a story about a spouse or a child or a parent on the other side of town. I watched them go, my stomach tight. I thought of my own family. My mother lived in a small house on the west side. My sister was a nursing assistant at a long-term care facility in Hilliard. I had texted them both when the first emergency alerts went out, telling them to stay inside, to lock everything, to listen for further instructions. Neither had responded yet. I told myself they were just sleeping, that their phones were on silent. I told myself I would check again when things calmed down, even as I knew things were not going to calm down. By 4:15, there were only 4 of us left on call-taking positions and 2 on radios. Karen and Mike stayed, moving between consoles, helping where they could, answering phones themselves when the lines stacked up too high. The building itself felt solid, built to handle storms and riots and whatever else city planners imagined might come. 2 floors above us, the main level had reinforced doors and security glass. In the basement where we sat, we had no windows and thick walls. The communications room had its own air circulation system and a dedicated backup generator. In theory, we could operate off the grid for up to 72 hours if the power went out. That was the theory. At 4:23 in the morning, the lights flickered. Every monitor in the room froze for a half-second, then went dark. The air unit stopped. The vending machines in the hall went silent. For 3 long seconds, we sat in darkness, lit only by the dim glow of the exit signs. Then the backup power kicked in with a heavy thud, and the lights came back at a half intensity. The displays rebooted. A low hum filled the room from somewhere behind the wall where the generator lived. "Okay," Mike said, eyes fixed on a status panel by the door. "Main feed is down. The whole block lost power. The generator came online. We're on backup now." "How long can we run like this?" I asked, feeling the room tighten. "Depends," he said. "Diesel tank was topped off after the last maintenance check. We have fuel for at least a day if the load stays moderate. More if we start shutting down non-essential systems." "Nothing in here is non-essential," Karen said. "We keep everything running as long as possible." The call queues blossomed again as the system reconnected. People calling because the power had gone out. People calling because sirens had stopped and they were not sure what to do. It felt like trying to hold back an ocean with a paper cup. I took another call. 911, what is the address of your emergency? "North side, near Morse Road," a man said, voice tight. "I am a driver for a parcel company. I am in my truck. There's a group of people on the road. I almost hit them. They are in the middle of the lane and they are not moving out of the way." "Okay, I need your exact location." He gave it. I checked the map. The cross street showed 3 other incidents flagged in red within half a mile. "Stay inside your vehicle," I told him. "Keep your doors locked and your windows up. Do not try to move them yourself." "They're banging on the hood," he said. A loud thud came through my headset. "They do not even look at me. They just keep pushing, like they do not care the truck is there." "Do you have space to back up and go around?" "There are cars behind me. Everyone is stuck. One guy got out, and they just grabbed him. They are—" He cut himself off, breathing hard. I heard muffled yelling, someone else shouting to stay inside their cars. "Listen to me," I said. "Stay in your truck. If they do not move, do not get out to confront them. If they start breaking windows, move the vehicle if you can do it safely. Keep your seatbelt on." "There is no one coming, is there?" he asked suddenly. "You keep saying someone is on the way, but I'm not hearing any sirens. I am not seeing any police." I stared at the unit status list on my monitor and did not answer for a second. Most of the icons that represented patrol cars were grayed out, marked "on scene" or "out of service." The few still showing green were clustered near 2 hospitals and the county jail. "We are sending help where we can," I said finally. It was the only thing I could say that did not feel like a lie. "Right now, staying in your truck is the safest thing you can do." He let out a low sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. "You sound young," he said. "How long you been doing this?" "Not long," I admitted, before I could stop myself. "Rough night," he said. Then the call cut off in a burst of static. I stared at the screen as it flashed, disconnected. I tried to call him back. No answer. Around 5 in the morning, the radio channels grew quieter. Not because things were improving, but because there were fewer units left to talk to us. One of the fire dispatchers wiped at her eyes with the back of her hand and then went back to announcing calls that no longer had available crews. Medic 12, respond to—" She cut herself off, leaned closer to her screen, then whispered, "Medic 12 is out of service. They never cleared that last call." "Flag them," Karen said quietly. "Do not send them anything else until we know their status." We knew what that meant. No one said it aloud. At 5:15, the city pushed another emergency alert. this time written by someone who understood we were past the point of careful language. It came through our consoles first, before it went out to the public. The subject line read, "Shelter in place until further notice. All residents," the message said, "remain in your homes. Do not travel unless absolutely necessary. Lock all doors and windows. Avoid contact with individuals displaying aggressive or unresponsive behavior. Stay tuned to local radio and official channels for updates. Emergency services are severely limited due to high call volume and safety concerns. Do not go to hospitals unless instructed." We all stared at that last line. Do not go to hospitals. That was not a phrase any of us had ever expected to see in an official message. "I'm going upstairs," Mike said suddenly. "I want to see what it looks like at street level. Karen, you have the floor." She nodded without looking up. "Take a radio. Do not go outside the building." He grabbed a handheld unit from the charging rack by the doorway, clipped it to his belt, and left. The secure door buzzed shut behind him. The next 30 minutes blurred into a stream of voices. A group of college students barricaded in their off-campus house, shoving a couch against the front door while something hit it from the outside. An older man trapped in his bathroom because his adult son had come home from work, acting strangely, and then started attacking him. A convenience store clerk hiding in the back cooler while several people tried to break through the front doors. In each case, I said the same things. Stay inside, lock the doors. Put as many barriers between you and them as you can. Stay quiet. Do not try to reason with anyone who is acting aggressively. Sometimes they listened. Sometimes they insisted on going out to check on someone and the line went dead or filled with a noise I tried not to picture. Each time I logged the call, marked the incident with as much detail as I could manage, and moved on to the next blinking line, because there was always another. At 5:42 in the morning, the building shuddered. Not a gentle vibration, but a physical jolt that made coffee cups jump and keyboards rattle. An instant later, the generator sound outside our wall changed from a steady hum to a rough, uneven growl. Karen looked at the status panel again. A red light had appeared under the generator fault label. "That is not good," she said. A recorded voice from the maintenance system came over the ceiling speaker. "Warning. Backup power system operating outside normal parameters. Battery backup will engage if generator fails." "How long do the batteries give us?" I asked. "Best case, a couple of hours if we shut down non-essential equipment," she said. "Worst case, less. We will see." "Non-essential," I repeated. "We will start with the big wall displays," she said. "And maybe the traffic camera feed. We keep the call system and the radios alive as long as possible." She crossed the room, opened a small panel near the rack of servers, and flipped 2 switches. The big map displays at the front of the room went dark. The traffic camera mosaic winked out. The room felt smaller without them. Outside, the generator coughed again. The maintenance alarm repeated its warning. We kept working. At 5:51, I took a call that has stayed with me more clearly than almost anything else from that night. "Franklin County 911. What is the address of your emergency?" There was no answer at first. I heard only breathing and a faint crackling, like someone was holding the phone too close to a cheap radio. "Hello, this is 911, I repeated. "Are you able to speak?" A child's voice answered barely above a whisper. "I am in my mom's car. She is outside." I sat up a little straighter. "Okay, what is your name?" "Lila." "How old are you, Lila?" 8. "Okay, Lila, you are doing very well by calling. Do you know where you are?" "In the parking lot at the grocery store, the big one near Hudson Street." "Okay, I know the one," I said, typing the location into the system. Can you see a sign with the store name? Or maybe a street sign?" She shifted the phone. I heard the rustle of fabric, the quiet click of a car turn signal. "It says Marketplace on the store," she said. "I do not know the street." "That is okay. You did great. I have your location. Now tell me what is happening. You said your mom is outside the car?" "Yes. There were people in the parking lot. They started running. Mom told me to get into the back seat and lock the doors. She said she would be right back. She has been gone for a long time." "How long do you think?" I asked gently. "A long time," she repeated. "It is still dark." "Are your doors locked right now?" "Yes, I checked them like she said." "Good job. I want you to stay in the back seat. Keep your head down. And do not open the doors for anyone, okay? Not even if they say they know your mom." "But what if it is her?" Lila asked. There was real worry in her voice. "If it is really your mom, she will knock in a way that only you two know," I said, grasping for something she could hold on to. "Do you have a special knock or a password or something like that?" "We do a knock for when she picks me up from school," Lila said. 2 knocks, then 3, then 2. "Okay, if you hear that, it might be her. But you should still be careful. Can you see out the window? Is anyone near the car?" She hesitated. "There are people far away. They are walking around. Some of them are bumping into cars. One of them is leaning on our car. I can feel it move a little. He's not looking in the window." "Stay very quiet," I said. "Stay low. Do you have a seatbelt on?" "Yes." "Good. I'm going to stay on the phone with you. I'm going to try to get someone there to help you. But you must promise me you will not open the doors unless someone in a police uniform tells you to and they know your name. Can you do that?" "Yes," she whispered. "I am scared." "I know. You are doing everything right. You are very brave." I marked her call as a high priority and looked for any units in the area. There were none. The closest active police unit was over 3 miles away, pinned at a hospital. I flagged the call for command, tagged it for any available responder, but I knew there was no one I could truthfully say was on the way. So, I stayed on the line. I talked to Lila about her school, about her favorite TV shows, about her cat. I kept her talking whenever the silence stretched too long. Every so often she would mention the sound of someone bumping into the car, or a hand brushing the rear glass. Each time, I told her to stay low, to stay quiet, to keep her eyes closed if it helped. I do not know how long we stayed like that. At some point, another call came in, and I had to put Lila briefly on hold to answer it. A man shouting that his neighbor had broken into his house. I grabbed the address, tagged it, gave him the same instructions, lock doors, stay inside, do not engage, then jumped back to Lila. "I am still here," I told her as soon as her line came back up. "I thought you left," she said. "I will not leave you," I said. "I am here." Around 6:20 in the morning, the generator finally failed. The change was immediate. The rough hum outside ground to a stop. The lights flickered once, twice, then stayed on but dimmer than before. The room's air grew still as the ventilation system shut down. Our consoles stayed lit, but a small red battery icon appeared in the corner of every screen. The maintenance system's voice returned. "Generator offline. Battery backup engaged. Estimated runtime at current load, 1 hour, 27 minutes. Karen walked to the panel and stared at the numbers. "We are officially on borrowed time," she said. "What happens when the batteries are done?" one of the other call takers asked. "The phones go dead," Karen said. "The radios go silent. We lose the CAD system. We lose the recording servers. We lose everything." For a moment, no one spoke. Then the phone started ringing again, and we went back to work. As the night rolled toward dawn, I found myself doing something I had never done before, tracking the collapse of a city on a legal pad. Our CAD system could plot incidents on a digital map, but with the big wall screens turned off and the servers starting to lag, I wanted something I could see all at once. Between calls, I scribbled down addresses and drew circles on the paper, shading in areas with multiple incidents, connecting them with quick lines. I saw clusters near the larger hospitals, near the college campus, downtown, along the main bus routes. The outer suburbs had fewer marks, but the circles were spreading outward with each hour. Karen noticed what I was doing and slid another pad and a handful of colored pens next to me. "Keep going," she said quietly. "If we lose the system, those may be the only records we have." "Records for who?" I asked before I could stop myself. She did not answer. At 6:45 in the morning, Mike finally came back into the room. His face was pale, and there were streaks of something on his sleeves that I tried not to analyze. "What is it like up there?" Karen asked. He closed the door behind him carefully. "Quiet," he said. "Too quiet. I did not go outside like you said. I just looked through the lobby camera feeds. There are cars on the street, some at odd angles. A few are still running. Some doors are open. I did not see anyone moving on the sidewalks, but the camera coverage is limited. No police in sight." "What about the sky?" one of the radio operators asked. "Any helicopters, anything like that?" "Nothing I could see," he said. "The usual sounds are gone. No traffic hum, no sirens." He sat down at an empty console and logged back in without being asked. The battery status indicator on the wall now read 52 minutes. Calls continued to come in, but fewer now. Sometimes several minutes would pass between them, and the silence felt heavier than the earlier chaos. Out of habit, I found myself listening for the distant rumble of fire trucks, the wail of police sirens, anything to mark that the world above was still functioning. I heard nothing. I was still on the phone with Lila, who had drifted into small, fitful bursts of sleep between her whispered check-ins. I did not have the heart to tell her that our powers to help her were shrinking second by second. "Daniel?" she said at one point, voice small. "I am here," I said. "Is it morning yet?" "Almost," I said. "The sun will be coming up soon." "Will it be better then?" she asked. I could not bring myself to answer. I let the question sit in the static, then said, "We are going to keep doing everything we can." At 7 o'clock on the dot, the landline at Karen's station rang. It was rare for anyone to call the supervisor desk directly instead of going through the main system. She answered, listened for a long moment, then put the call on speaker so we could all hear. "This is Captain Morris with the Department of Public Safety," a man said, his voice tired. "We are calling to advise all remaining communication center staff of the current situation." "Yes, Captain, this is Supervisor Daniels," Karen said. "We are listening." "The city is implementing full shelter in place," he said. "Most field units are no longer able to respond safely to calls for service. Many hospitals are compromised. We are working with the state to deploy National Guard units, but it will take time. Until further notice, your primary function is to provide information and reassurance to callers. You are not to encourage anyone to leave their homes. You're not to advise people to go to hospitals unless they are already on the way and cannot safely turn back." "What about officer requests for backup?" one of the radio operators asked. The captain's tone stayed flat. "If you have available units nearby, send them. If you do not, advise the requesting officer and let them make their own decision. Our resources are all but exhausted." "How long do we stay on the air?" Karen asked. "As long as you safely can," the captain said. "I understand your backup power situation may be critical. If you lose power, switch to the backup mobile radios and keep one position open as long as possible. After that, he trailed off. When he spoke again, his voice sounded heavier. After that, you have to look out for yourselves. The line clicked and went dead. Karen stared at the phone for a moment, then looked up at us. "You heard him," she said. "We stay as long as we can." No one objected. The battery indicator dropped to 31 minutes. The air in the room grew warmer without active ventilation. The hum of electronics and the faint buzz of fluorescent lights felt louder in the thickening silence. Around 7:15, I took one of my last calls from an officer. "Dispatch, this is Unit 423, the voice said, breathless but controlled. I recognized Officer Patel, a relatively new patrol officer I had spoken with on routine calls before. "We are barricaded inside the lobby of the Northside Community Clinic. We have 5 civilians and 3 officers. Doors are holding for now, but we have multiple aggressors outside and a breach in the rear hallway. We are running low on ammunition and medical supplies. We need guidance." I switched from my headset to the radio console and keyed up. "Unit 423. This is dispatch. Copy, you are barricaded at the Northside Community Clinic with civilians and officers. Doors holding for now, multiple aggressors outside. No immediate backup available. Advise you maintain barricade, stay away from windows and doors, and conserve supplies. Do you have access to a second exit?" "Negative," Patel replied. "Rear exit leads to the hallway we just lost. We have 1 officer down, 2 injured. Civilian injuries as well." I winced. "Is anyone able to provide basic medical care inside the lobby?" "One of the civilians says she is a nurse," Patel said. "We are doing what we can." "Understood," I said. "I will log your status and flag it for command. We are currently operating under shelter in place. You are authorized to remain in place and prioritize your safety and that of the civilians." There was a pause. "So, that is it?" he asked quietly. "We just sit here and wait?" I gripped the edge of the console. "Right now, that is the safest course of action," I said. "I will keep your status at the top of our board. If any units become available, I will direct them your way." "Copy," he said. His voice softened. "You still down there in the center, Ruiz?" "Yes," I said. Surprised he remembered my name. "You are doing good work," he said. "If the radios go dark, I just want you to know that." My throat tightened. "You too, officer," I said. "Stay safe." The battery indicator ticked down to 19 minutes. Eventually, the calls slowed to a trickle. Most people who could call had already called. Some of them were still on the line, whispering in the dark as they waited, and we kept them company as best we could. Others had hung up to conserve their own phone batteries. The city above us had slid into a strange, heavy quiet, a pause before whatever would come next. Karen moved to the back of the room and opened a metal cabinet. Inside were 3 portable radios, a stack of printed emergency procedures, and a small battery-powered lantern. She set the lantern on a table, but did not turn it on yet. She placed the portable radios evenly spaced around the room. Each one switched to a different primary channel. "We are going to lose the consoles soon," she said. "When that happens, we shift to these. We will not be able to transmit as far, but it is better than nothing." "Are we really staying?" one of the remaining call takers asked. Her name was Trina. She had 2 kids at home, both under 10. She had mentioned them earlier between calls. Karen looked at each of us. "No one is a prisoner here," she said. "If you want to leave, now is the time to do it. You've heard what it is like out there. I cannot tell you what is safer. I can only tell you that if we stay, people still have a chance to hear a voice when they call. That matters to me, but I will not think less of anyone who chooses to go." Trina sat in silence for a long moment. Then she unplugged her headset, stood up, and walked over to Karen. "My husband is with the kids," she said. "He knows what to do. I am staying." No one else moved. The battery indicator dropped to 10 minutes. I knew I should use that time to call my mother again, my sister, anyone I could reach. Instead, I stayed on the line with Lila and 2 other callers, and I watched the last of the green unit markers on the CAD map turn gray. One by one, the system marked them as signal lost after repeated unanswered status checks. We did not know whether their radios had failed, whether they had turned them off to conserve battery, or whether something worse had happened. At 7:59 in the morning, the consoles beeped in unison. The battery icon on my screen turned from red to blinking red, then vanished. The monitors dimmed, then went black. The fluorescence overhead cut off. The air went still and hot. The maintenance system's voice gave one final message in the dark. Battery power depleted, systems shutting down. Silence followed. For a second, I heard nothing but my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Then, slowly, other sounds filtered in. Someone shifting in a chair, someone's breath catching, the faint mechanical click of Karen switching on the lantern. A soft circle of light appeared in the middle of the room, throwing everything else into shadow. My headset was dead. The line to Lila was gone. I pulled the headset off and set it down gently on the dark console. The room we had lived in all night, the room that felt like the nerve center of the city, now looked like any other basement lit by a camping lamp. Karen handed each of us a portable radio. "These are on for now," she said. The small green indicator lights glowed faintly. "We answer what we can, but after this, there is nothing left on our end." I looked at the stacks of legal pads on my station, filled with addresses, notes, scribbled circles and arrows. They felt heavier than they should. Records of people's worst moments preserved on cheap paper. "What now?" I asked quietly. Karen looked toward the closed windowless wall that faced the city. "Now, we decide if we are going to be operators or survivors," she said. "Up until this minute, we were operators. We answered calls, sent help, kept the system alive. But there is no system left right now. There is just us and them out there." "Them," I repeated. "The infected, whatever they are," she said. She shook her head. "No one has named it yet, and I'm not sure naming it changes anything." Mike pointed toward the doorway. "The stairwell is clear," he said. "Building security doors are locked on the main level, at least for now. We could stay down here. We have some food in the break room, water from the coolers. No windows means nothing can see us. It might be safer to stay put until someone comes." "If anyone comes," Trina added quietly. I thought of the calls, stacking up in the dark. The people still out there with phones in their hands, pressing 3 numbers and waiting for someone to answer. "Nobody can call in anymore," I said. "The system is down. Even if they dial, it will not reach us." "True," Karen said, "but the radios still work. If any officers or medics are still out there with mobile units, they can reach us." "And if they do," I said, "what are we going to tell them?" She met my eyes in the lantern light. "We tell them the truth," she said, "that the city is on its own for now, that they need to find safe places, gather people they trust, and stay alive until help comes from somewhere beyond what we can see." I looked down at my hands. They were shaking. I had been talking steadily for hours, but I had never felt this quiet. For the first time since the start of my shift, I reached into my pocket and pulled out my own phone. The battery was at 30%. No missed calls, no new messages. My text to my mother and my sister still showed as delivered, not read. I typed quickly. Power out, phone system down. I am safe for now, still in the center. Stay inside, lock everything. Do not open the door for anyone. I will try to come when I can. I sent it to both of them. The messages spun for a moment, then showed a small sent status. No read receipts, no comforting dots. The portable radio on my table crackled. A male voice came through, thin but clear. Any unit, any dispatch, this is Medic 7. We are sheltering in place in our ambulance inside the bay at Station 2. We have one patient on board with a bite wound and high fever. We have no further instructions. Is anyone receiving? I picked up the radio, glanced at Karen. She nodded once. This is Communications Center, I said. The words felt strange without the usual console echo. We hear you, Medic 7. Holy, I was not sure anyone was left, paramedic said. What is the situation? We lost contact with the hospital. Our mobile data terminal is dead. We tried to raise anyone on the regular channels and got nothing but static. We lost main power, I said. Backup systems are gone. We are on handheld radios only. The city has issued a full shelter in place. Hospitals are compromised. Official guidance is to remain where you are if you can do so safely. The paramedic swore under his breath. Our patient is stable for now, but he is not acting normal. We have him restrained. My partner was bitten earlier. He has not turned yet, but his temperature is rising. I closed my eyes for a moment. Do you have the ambulance doors locked? Are the bay doors secure? Yes, we pulled in, closed everything, and parked against the rear wall. Then stay there, I said. Monitor your patient and your partner. Do not open the doors for anyone unless you are certain they are not infected. Conserve your supplies. If they start to show the same aggressive behavior we have been hearing about, do not let them get close without protection. You are basically telling us to sit in a box and hope for the best, he said. I am telling you the safest option with the information we have, I replied. There are no active units available to assist you. The more you move, the more exposure you risk. He was quiet for several seconds. Copy communications, he said finally. We will hold. If you are able, check in on this channel every hour, I said. We will answer as long as we can. Understood, he said. The line went quiet. The lantern's light flickered briefly, then steadied. In the dim glow, I could see the faces of the people I had spent the night with. We all looked older than we had 12 hours ago. The Emergency Communications Center was designed to be the place people reached out to when everything else failed. Now, it had become something more narrow, more fragile, a small pocket of light and sound underground, holding what little connection remained between scattered pockets of survivors. When I had walked into the building at 10 that evening, I was a junior dispatcher on my third overnight shift, worried about saying the right script lines, worried about logging the right times and codes. By the time the screens went dark, there were no scripts left to follow. There were only voices in the dark asking what they should do when there was no one coming to help. I was the only dispatcher still seated at a console that no longer worked, with a dead headset around my neck and a portable radio in my hand. Above us, the city of Columbus was still there physically, but everything that made it feel organized and safe had been torn away, piece by piece, through our headsets. In training, they had told us that our job was to stay calm, to keep control, to always have an answer. Now, I understood that sometimes the only honest answer was that there were things beyond our control, and that the best we could do was to help people face that fact without feeling completely abandoned. Karen broke the silence. We will take shifts on the radios, she said, 2 at a time. The rest will rest, eat, drink water. Then we will talk about what happens when it is time to leave this room. I nodded, fingers tightening around the radio. I will take the first shift, I said. She did not argue. Somewhere above us, faint through the concrete, I finally heard a distant sound. Not sirens, but something heavier, maybe helicopters, maybe large trucks, maybe something else entirely. Whatever it was, it told me that the story of the city was not over, just changing. Down in the dim emergency center, 2 floors underground, I raised the radio to my mouth and spoke into the static. "This is communications," I said. "We are still here. If you can hear this, you are not alone. Stay inside, lock your doors. Keep each other safe. We will listen as long as we can." It was not much compared to the system we had lost, but in that moment, it was the only lifeline left, and I was not going to let go of it until I had no other choice. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support keeps these creepypastas coming. Until next time, stay alert, stay safe, and never ignore the feeling that something is watching.